The No Fate channel, checking in on this episode of Dad's Home Gym. We are here in my garage gym, and on this episode we're going to be talking about where is that coveted line between budget and non-budget when it comes to home gym equipment. And I thought it would be an ideal opportunity to review this RitFit power rack and lat pull down attachment, because this one really straddles the line. Now, if this is your first time to the channel, give this video a like and hit that red subscribe button. On every episode, I typically review a piece of home gym equipment to help you decide if it's right for your home gym, if it will exceed your expectations, and if it's worth your hard-earned money. Let's get started. So many of us are looking for budget home gym equipment, and there's many reasons, and all of them are valid. The biggest one being, hey, we don't have the cake, the cheddar, the dinero. We don't have the funds to fork over for some platinum, beautifully finished, gold-encrusted piece of equipment. Many of us, we're looking to find a budget deal where we spend very little, but we get a lot in return because, hey, we're frugal and we're not ashamed to admit it. And there's many of us out there that want to go budget because for your home gym, you're only using it once, maybe twice a week. You've got a home gym to break that glass in case of emergency. The local gym loses power. There's a snowstorm. Your kid's sick and you can't actually leave the house. You've got to stay in the home. You want to have something just for that off chance. So why pony up a fortune for something that you're not going to be using that often? Where is that fine line between budget and non-budget? 10 years ago, I'll tell you straight away, that line was a mile wide, easy as day to pick out. There weren't that many manufacturers, and it was clear with marketing and with the photos that budget was down here and non-budget was up here. Now we're in 2022 and we're rolling forward. There's tons of manufacturers. Photoshop is easier than ever. Everyone is doing fake reviews, and frankly, that line is absolutely blurred. It is so hard to identify, especially where you've got so many pieces of equipment that incrementally change in price. Everything from low to high, everything else in between is filled in. In today's day of power racks, prices vary greatly, everywhere from $300 up to $3,000, depending on the make, the model, the accessories, and all the attachments that you get to go with it. So I wanted to review this RitFit power rack and lat pull down attachment to give you an idea of the difficulty of deciding where that budget line is and help you figure out what is going to be right for you and what is ultimately going to get you the power rack that you want for the price that you want. This RitFit power rack retails for $700 on the website. I will link it in the description. Coupon code NOFATE247 gets you another 10% off. I know on Amazon you can pick this thing up for $650 depending on the time of the year, because that price does vary like everything else on Amazon. As far as power racks go, that's actually fairly low. Oftentimes we see power racks starting at $800 or $900 and simply just going up from there depending on the accessories and the attachments. Clearly there's a lot cheaper, less expensive power racks out there, but let's get into the details. As far as capacity, this will hold is rated for 1,000 pounds. That is the same rating on your Rogue, on your Rep, and on your Titan Fitness power racks. The metal uprights are a 2x2 construction, and the holes are 4 inches apart. Very typical of your budget power racks. What are the pros? What are the benefits? What are the bennies? When you go budget, you need a reason to pick one over another. If you throw a rock, you are going to hit a baker's dozen of power racks that are just simply budget. And what RitFit does, and what a few other companies will do, is that they throw in a ton of accessories for what seems like no additional cost. When you tend to go the more expensive route when it comes to power racks, you just get like a base model, and every time you want to add an attachment or an accessory, that price just keeps ticking up, 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 and by the time you check out, you got to take out a second mortgage. So RitFit throws in all the accessories you could probably think of. You get the multi-grip pull-up bar. You also get dip attachments. You get a landmine. You get 4 of these pins for additional weight storage. and you get this whole pulley system along with 3 separate bars. Now, one of the big standouts, at least for me, is this pulley system is extremely smooth. When it comes to a lot of the budget pulley systems that I've tried, they're clunky and they just feel budget. This one, after I gave it a little bit of lubrication, moved nice and smooth. And the other benefit with regards to this power rack is the height. Coming in at only 85 inches, it's gonna fit in any room in America. And that's what happens with a lot of people. They're dealing with limited space and oftentimes, limited height when it comes to their ceilings. What are the cons? What are the detractors with this RitFit power rack? Whenever you go budget, you have to make some trade-offs. You have to expect not everything is gonna be perfect for you. Obviously, if you want perfect, you're gonna have to spend the extra money. So with regards to RitFit, after using this for 2 weeks, I noticed a few cons right away. Number one, by and large, is this pull-up bar. Oftentimes with power racks, you get a 1-inch or even more pull-up bar in terms of diameter thickness. This is probably a 1/2 or 3/4 of an inch thick. It is very, very thin, and it's gonna cut into your hands significantly. Also, because of the way the bar is placed and the slope, it makes so that you really can't go wide. And just for reference, I'm 6'1", but I've got narrow shoulders. And when I try to go wide, I'm really in an uncomfortable spot with regards to where that curve on the pull-up bar is. It's usable. It's simply something you're gonna have to understand and maybe even tape these things up before you use it so that you can just kind of save your hands in the long run. The other issue I found is with regards to the pulley system. The pulley system is extremely smooth, but unfortunately, especially if you're not on a completely level surface, it does tend to tip with regards to the weight. And once it tips, it adds a little bit more friction and takes away from being smooth. But because the shafts that you load up the plates on are not Olympic size, you can't use your typical clips to keep them attached or keep them snug to the middle of that pulley system. You're gonna have to find something else. I just used some Velcro that I had, and I just throw it on and take it off in between uses. Again, it's not a deal breaker, but it is something to be aware of, especially if you're used to a local gym when the pulleys are nice and lubricated and everything just goes smooth as butter. Another problem with the pulley system, and this is a trade-off you often get when you go budget on your power racks, is that the pulleys themselves are plastic. I really like to see metal pulleys, but clearly that's really the differentiator between budget and non-budget when it comes to these pulley systems. And the other detractor, one that I noticed right off the bat, was the assembly. Now, whenever you assemble a power rack as an army of one, it never goes smooth. It's always a headache. But this RitFit thing takes the cake. They had me assembling pieces underneath the bottom bracing bracket, and it was so difficult, so annoying. I had this thing in all different types of angles. I had to get different stools to hold it in place. Now, obviously, with a second set of hands, it would have gone smoother, but man, it was annoying, and I already scratched this thing up during the assembly just because it was that darn difficult, and I was trying my darndest not to have any problems, not to even put the smallest scratch on this thing. But there's a number of places that are already dinged up, not because of shipping, but because of the assembly process. And now it's time. It is time for Fate of the Union, where I give you my final thoughts on this RitFit power rack and lat pull down attachment. As far as being a viable option for those of you on a budget, absolutely. To get all the accessories on here and to get it in a 3x3 configuration with regards to the structure, you're gonna end up paying at least double. This thing retails for $700. It has coupon codes. It's even less on Amazon. It is a steal. They tend to throw in a lot of accessories because you're spending a little bit of extra money because you're including that extra lat pull down attachment. Now, if you're looking to go budget in 2022, it's easy. There's a lot cheaper alternatives out there, but they don't give you as much. And frankly, you're gonna get what you pay for. If you go too cheap, and there's a lot of cheap stuff out there, you're gonna just hate it as soon as you get it in. You're not gonna use it, and ultimately you're gonna sell it at a loss only to buy what you ultimately wanted the first time and end up losing money in the long run. I would argue that if you are on a budget, there's a way to have your cake and eat it too. You need a little bit of patience. I know, patience is easier said than done. I have very little myself, but in 2022, you can get whatever pieces of equipment you want. There's very little issue with availability, unlike 2020 and even most of 2021. So the idea is figure out what you ultimately want for your home gym and then back off. So figure out which power rack and accessories and lat pull down attachments that you want and then back off. Just get the power rack, okay? Save up a bit of money, pay that extra money and just get the power rack and then have a bit more patience, save a bit more money, buy the lat pull down attachment and then save up a bit more money, buy the accessories, the dip accessories, the landmine accessories, the extra storage accessories. Keep repeating that process. Ultimately, in the long run, you'll get everything that you wanted, you'll get the quality that you wanted, and you won't have lost money by buying and reselling and buying again. I think that's the ultimate way to go, especially if you might have been drinking the home gym Kool-Aid. If you think that the home gym lifestyle is right for you, I would argue try to spend a bit more money so that you're not regretting it down the road. It's easy to say, hard to do. I know so many of you are on a budget. I understand. Just wanted to put it out there. I happen to think that's where that sweet spot is trying to figure out what you want, getting what you want, and maybe delaying some gratification by not getting everything, not getting all the attachments that you want because your price point, your budget just can't handle it. Let me know in the comments below. Do you go budget? Are you a budget home gym buyer? I think there's a lot of value to be had with budget, but there's a real murky area where you think you're getting a good deal and you're getting a lot of smoke and mirrors, especially with so many different manufacturers and resellers, especially on Amazon. It's really tough to figure out what you're actually going to get once you put the order in. And the worst thing is to get something in that you hate, only to have to live with it forever. Hopefully today's video was informative. If you want to see more of these type of discussion videos with regards to how to pick the right home gym equipment for you, drop it in the comments below. If you don't, let me know in the comments below too and tell me to just shut up and review pieces of home gym equipment. As usual, if you came this far in the video, we are now best friends. If you give this video a like, hit that red subscribe button.